What's up, football fans? I'm Emory Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, and don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our two latest book releases, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? Visit our website at footballgameplan.com/books and get your copies today. Welcome to another edition of 4 Downs with the Czar. I'm Emory Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, here at Lincoln Financial Field, where the Philadelphia Eagles knocked off the New Orleans Saints by a score of 39-17. And starting with first downs in this ball game, looking at the Saints offense, in the first half, they had some success throwing the football. I thought the passing game looked very well, short, intermediate, even testing deep down the field. So I thought they moved the football well in the passing game against this Eagles secondary. And when you look in the second half, the Saints couldn't replicate that offensive success. They had problems sustaining drives, two costly turnovers that I think were on Drew Brees, the sack fumbles, and also a fumble by Humana Wanui on a short pass when the Saints was trying to get back into the ball game for a touchdown, but he fumbled the football. Eagles picked it up. And again, the Saints offense sputtered mightily in the second half. So overall, it was an inconsistent effort, one-dimensional effort from the Saints offense in this ball game. Looking at second down, the Eagles offense, they had an efficient, workmanlike effort in the first half. They were moving the football up and down the field at ease versus New Orleans. It was the two costly turnovers that happened in the end zone, two interceptions by Sam Bradford that took away points. Otherwise, this could have been an ugly score, or even more ugly score than it was at the end. But the first half, you saw the offense having a lot of success moving the football up and down the field versus the Saints defense. The Saints couldn't really get pressure. That's a lot of credit to that Eagles offensive line. And in the second half, the offense picked up right where they left off in the first half. The offensive line did a great job keeping Bradford clean. He was sharp, he was efficient, and most importantly, he protected the football in the second half, which is why they were able to have much more success scoring as opposed to what we saw in the first half. Looking at third down, the Saints defense, I thought Delvin Breaux did a hell of a job in the first half, picking off a pass in the end zone. Brandon Browner had an interception. The secondary played well in the first half, doing a great job shutting down the intermediate and deep passing game. But you saw seeds of what could happen in the second half with the run defense. They were a little inconsistent, and also the pass rush was non-existent versus Sam Bradford. So you saw those things in the first half. Second half, they played itself out how we saw in the first two quarters. And in the second half for the Saints, they got sloppy defensively with missed tackles, penalties, blown assignments. But there were two guys, there were two bright spots, two rookies. I like what I saw from Stephon Anthony, the linebacker, and also defensive tackle Tyler Davidson out of Fresno State. Those two guys kept the intensity up throughout the course of the ball game. They played well, but everyone else, I believe, had their issues and they had their struggles, which is why the Saints defense fell apart in the second half. Looking at fourth down, the Eagles defense, I thought their defensive line did an outstanding job versus the Saints guards and their center. That interior defensive line really made the job a lot easier for everyone else involved with this Eagles defense. So I thought when you look at the defensive game plan for the Eagles, it was about getting pressure on Drew Brees, collapsing the pocket, and I thought they did that to a T. So that defensive line definitely deserves a lot of credit for what they were able to do in this ball game versus the Saints. And in the second half, you look at the Eagles on third down, their defense was outstanding, did a great job in getting the Saints off the field on a consistent basis. And you also look at the pressure got turned up. You saw a lot more press, you saw a lot more man, you saw a lot more aggressiveness in the tackling department, and they really put the kibosh again on that Saints offense in the second half. I like what I saw from this Eagles defense. That intensity carried over from the first half. Player of the game for New Orleans, I look at wide receiver Willie Snead. He had a great day catching the football and really kept up his level of intensity. You see, that's the theme here: intensity, intensity, intensity. He played that way throughout the course of the game. He was a problem in the first half, was an even bigger problem in the second half. Unfortunately, it didn't result in a lot of points for New Orleans offense. Defensive player of the game for New Orleans, I look at two guys, linebacker Stephon Anthony, the rookie out of Clemson, and cornerback Delvin Breaux, who had an interception in the first half. But I really like Anthony's ability on both ends of defense. He played a great game in this one. Offensive player of the game for the Eagles, that entire offensive line played great. They protected Bradford very well. There were no sacks in this game by the Saints, and all of the running backs I thought had success running the football. The Eagles racked up over 500 yards of total offense, and you can't do that if your offensive line is playing bad football. They played a great game. Big reason why they won today versus New Orleans. Defensive player of the game, Fletcher Cox. I thought he did a great job up front, forced 4 Saint turnovers. He had a sack, he had a fumble recovery, he played great. That defensive line as a whole did an outstanding job in neutralizing what the Saints wanted to do. They really stopped the running game, and that's what made the Saints one-dimensional, which allowed them to tee off on Drew Brees and force those turnovers, where Fletcher Cox was the main guy on that defensive line, causing a ton of problems all game long. So that wraps it up for me from Lincoln Financial Field as the Eagles knocked off New Orleans 39-17. And for more 4 Downs with the Czar, visit our website at footballgameplan.com/4downswiththezar.